Welcome back to Rage Trade Mondays. I'm your host for tonight, Scobie__. You can find me on X, or you just, send a DM about how good it's going to be when Elijah Sardis is picked Thursday night. Isn't that right? The man to my right. Joshy, how are you?
We seriously aren't going to be running with this narrative all week again, are we?
Absolutely,
the
we
egg
are.
all over your face last week when you didn't come back in. I must say, Scobes, after Setterfield played well, and so did Shield and even Hobbs, I don't think your man's going to be coming in anytime soon.
Yeah, neither do I, to be honest. How are you tonight, mate? You good?
Yeah, not too bad. Was this second Race Trade Mondays, but tonight we've actually got the third of our little thruple we've got going on here. Big Verns.
How are you, Verns? It's great to have you, mate.
Glad I could be here. As I already told you fellas, but stuck on the phone today, off in one of our rooms. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm really sorry I missed it last week. Was on another planet.
No, that's all right, mate. That's all right. Before we get stuck into everything, just looking at the chat pre-stream, have seen that there are a few questions regarding DR. I've already put a comment in the chat, but what we're going to say is just refer back to the tweet that was made by his amazing wife, Lisa. That was on X. I'm sure if you guys are watching this live stream, you clearly follow him on X. We're not going to be talking about it anymore, just out of respect to DR. We obviously hope that he's doing well and everything is going as smooth as possible, and any updates will be facilitated through his family, obviously, if they wish to, of course. But we're going to kick it off right now. Verns, I'm going to give you a quick little rundown because I know you're a super, super busy man, and obviously you were in another hemisphere when we had our first Rage Trade Mondays. But basically, we go through the top 10 trade out options based on percentage of all coaches, and then the top 10 trade in percentage of players of all coaches. Just so we don't segregate, because there's blokes like Joshy who are currently ranked in the 0.0001% of all coaches. And then you've got blokes like me who are talking to like the ranked in the 85,000 crowd. So we don't segregate like that around here. But to kick things off, I should probably get the window up, which is up right now.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Professionalism around here. That's what we get. After we do this, we'll go through our trades. We'll have a few engagements with the chat. We love the chat. There's always something in there. I've no doubt there's going to be something about Sardis, seeing as I banged on about him way too much. But the first player that has been traded out, sitting at number 10, is Connor Stone, who now has forward def DPP. Like I never owned him, so I'm happy to trade him out. But realistically, what are you going to? That's my thoughts. And he's playing as well. So I guess if it facilitates something, more than happy to say goodbye to Connor. But I don't know if you're making that much coin on it. Verns, we'll go to you first, mate. What's your thoughts regarding Connor Stone? Trade out, happy to hold, needs to go. What's the go in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I would think he's a happy to hold kind of guy. Personally, I do own him as well. But as you said, if you're going down, what are you banking? 50K? It's not much, and there's a lot of other problems everywhere. Henderson getting his 13. Patton not even playing. Things like that where there's more dire needs, in my opinion, than Stone.
I could not agree more. Joshy, do you have anything to add to that? Or has Verns on his debut just summed it up?
I think Verns is pretty spot on. His scoring hasn't been that great, but we've got guys like Moraes who could even get dropped alongside guys like Camporelli, who's already been dropped. Henderson, I think, is going to be a shoo-in to get dropped. He's already been subbed off. I think even though it's only 30 to 40s, he'd still probably rather Stone. But, if you need someone to go down to a Cleary or a Gross, then go for it with him.
Yeah, perfect, mate. While I've got you, Joshy, the next man sitting at number 9 is Isaac Kako. I know he was in your trade plans, but you also
Yeah.
mentioned something regarding job security, which I cannot argue. Are you in the camp of trading him out or holding?
So initially, I was going to trade him out, just as part of that trade to try and get Daicos in, which we'll go into later. But I actually switched it to Mariah. So the reason I did that was Kako's going to break even to 15, and he plays West Coast this week. So I think there's a chance for a spike score there. And then we've got your boys Collingwood, so that'll be a bit more difficult. But then he's got North, so I can potentially see 2 out of 3 spike scores to come. I think his job security is really good. But the main thing is he's got that mid DPP as well. So someone like me, the only forward mid I had in my midfield was Levi Ashcroft, and obviously I want to field him. So trading a Moraes instead gets Kako into that midfield for me, and it then allows me to play, a Caden Cleary or a Max Hall over your Clay Halls, or even even your Mitch Nevitz. So I think it just gives me more flexibility, lower break even than Moraes. And I don't know about you boys, but I think Moraes could be dropped or even sub next week.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. They seem to be liking to use Joe Berry as the sub, which, I mean, that's fantastic for non-owners, but fairly distasteful for owners. Verns, what's your thoughts on Kako, mate? I assume you own him.
Yeah. Look, I did actually consider moving him on last week, and then decided to spice up my trades and keep him, which I'm pretty glad with. It meant that I moved Patton instead. And, there are a lot of really bad rookies, as unfortunate as that is. There's so many rookies that are they're on the sub or they're cuss 22. Like Patton's already been dropped. You mentioned Camporelli before. There's a lot of really bad rookies out there right now. And I think keeping someone that at least has job security and I think has the ability to get a spike score coming into a good fixture, I think that's pretty important in my opinion. If you're trading him, I think you're in a pretty good position to do so.
I agree. I don't think Kako is a trade out at this stage. Joshy, just a quick one, mate. Who was the last small forward to win the Anzac Day medal?
Guinea?
Oh, yes, thank you. We shall move on. Geez, that was a good game. Sitting next on the list is Joel Freasier. Now, I had a thought of bringing him in, but I didn't think it was sustainable, his scoring output. I mean, his job security is extremely solid. He's not going to get dropped. But when you've got 358K tied up in this fella with a break even of 115, is it fair to say it's time to go? Joshy, what's your thoughts?
I think it is. And to be fair, it's pretty stiff for those that did get him in because, I mean, coming off 109 and 100, like the signs were there. He looked pretty good. And obviously, it looks like he was going to get a fair bit of opportunity still with Bont not even back yet. But yeah, 68, 49, and 50 the last 3. That break even is up to 115 now, and he's already lost 28K this round. Yeah, it's a pretty bad trade in the end. In hindsight, hindsight's everything. But yeah, a lot of people were between him and DeConning a couple of weeks ago, and both haven't worked out, which is the game of Supercoach. And if you still have him, I would be trading as quick as possible.
I completely agree. Verns, what's your thoughts? Do you have anything to add on Joel Freasier?
Yeah, I mean, look, it makes a lot of sense. We just mentioned that the rookies aren't really making cash right now. Freasier has a lot of money on his head. If you want to do an upgrade, you kind of have to use a more expensive rookie or mid-pricer to do it. So it makes sense.
Yep. No, perfect. This next one, I don't understand for one moment. I genuinely don't get it. I'm going to read you boys out some scores, and I hope you haven't looked at the list because I just want straight up trade or hold. One word, and then we'll get into the debate of it. First round, 93, 130, 80, 98, 86. This week coming up, I'm not going to say who they play, but afterwards they have Richmond, West Coast, and Hawthorn, who they all average over 105 against. Trade or hold?
I reckon I know who it is.
I know who it is. I tweeted
Yeah.
about him literally 2 hours ago.
Yes.
Um,
So is it a trade or hold on Clary Oliver?
It's a hold.
It's a hold.
I don't understand it.
No, I genuinely, don't get me wrong. I understand he's probably not the player that he once was, and he's probably working back into it. But I'm just going to read you out some averages against opponent, and I'm going to stop when it goes below 100. Okay? 105, 110, 105, 105, 114, 105, 112, 107. He drops below 100 average at round 14 against Port, and it's still a 92. If you're trading out Clayton Oliver, I don't know what to say to you. I genuinely don't, because every single day, 100% hold. Is there any reason why you would trade Clary? Any reason?
Nope.
No, there isn't. But the people that are doing it are the ones that can't get Daicos or a Primo in any other way.
Yep.
I guess I'm in a pretty fortunate position that I had 192k in the bank going into this round of trades. So it's a bit of a different situation. But I mean, as you said, like to have Richmond and West Coast within his next three, I mean, people say that he's not the same Clary, and yeah, that's true. But he's still averaging 97 this year, and he just scored 86 with a pretty hard tag from Setterfield, who actually held him pretty well. So, I mean, his lowest score of the season is 80. He dropped a 130 against North Melbourne to show that he still has that ceiling. And I think against West Coast and Richmond, we're still going to see 210 plus scores in those games. And yeah, if his floor's 80, then why not hold him for those 2 games at least?
Exactly. Verns, do you have anything else to add on the holding Clary?
No, I mean, doesn't make any sense in my eyes to trade him. So yeah, just hold.
Yep, perfect. Perfect. The next bloke, I'm going to read out some scores, and I think by the scores, you will probably be able to guess who it is. 144, 104, 55, 72, 82. Joshy, by that gorgeous little grin you've got on your face, I reckon you may know who it is. Who is it?
It's Finn Callahan.
It most definitely is. Trade or hold? What's the go?
I'd trade. Oh, actually, if you held him for this long, you'd probably just hold him. I mean, he just copped a win Hager tag against Adelaide. He's probably not going to cop a tag, and then the week after against the Dogs won't cop a tag, and the week after that against Sydney he might cop Jordan. So if you've held him this long, maybe just hold him for 2 more weeks against non-tag opponents, and then reassess from there.
Yep, understood. Verns, your thoughts on Finn Callahan?
Yeah, look, I own him. I'm still holding him, and I say still keep holding him. This is the part of the season where we want to get rookies off field, and even if he's scoring your 80s, it sucks, but it's better than copying a Moraes 40, O'Sullivan 40. These rookie scores that you could get. So I'm all for holding him.
I want to ask you both a question. And this is obviously, we put in hours and hours worth of research and pre-stream prep, because I completely, definitely did not have the window open, which we actually needed. Why can we not apply the same logic that you both applied just to Finn Callahan right then? I mean, sorry, why can't we apply the same logic we applied to Clary to Finn Callahan?
Because Finn Callahan doesn't have Tigers and West Coast in his next 3.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I was just wondering if there was any debate or any other side of the argument. Verns, why can't we apply the same logic to Finn Callahan as we did to Clary?
I think Clary's just a proven scorer at the end of the day. We know what his absolute peak is, and if he doesn't get there, it's still really good. Where Callahan's pretty unproven. We're all kind of hoping for a breakout year, and right now it doesn't quite look like it's the case. But as I said, I'm happy to be holding fat in the meantime.
Yep, no, perfect. Next person on the list is Sammy Downie. 358k, has a break even of 65, but that is going to shoot up after this week. And if you're an owner, you kind of got to gamble on the fact that he's going to go relatively large. because he does have a 57 in his price cycle. And after this week, that 92 is going to drop out. So in my opinion, I reckon you can hold for this 1 week, see what happens. It is against Hawks on Easter Monday. Traditionally, they are good games. I'm really like, if your team is set up that well that Sammy DeConning is your like biggest issue, then trade by all means. But 100%, you can definitely hold him this week, in my opinion. Verns, is there anything to go against holding Sammy DeConning?
No, I do. Once again, if you've held him this long, keep holding him. Let's be honest, if you own him, you traded him in. Most people didn't start him. So if you traded them in, I'd hate to be wasting a trade right now to get him out. I guess the only logic there is the same as Freasier, where if you don't really have the money to go up to a Daicos or anything and you need to be using more of an elevated rookie or mid-pricer, then I guess. But other than that, yeah, I'd be holding.
Yep, perfect. Joshy, do you have anything more to add on Sammy DeConning?
Well, this one's actually a trade for me. I mean, he's lost that ruck roll. Like the last 2 weeks, he's had 9% and 0% CBAs. Like, so he's not even, by the looks of that, last week, 0% CBAs. It looks like he doesn't even have that second ruck roll anymore. So he's completely wiped out of the ruck. It looks like Stanley and Blitz halves are the 1-2 combo now. And I mean, we saw like the 3 seasons leading up to this season, DeConning averaged in the 60s as a defender. And I think that's just going to continue. Like he plays that lockdown mostly on the number 1 key forward, especially at the moment with Jack Henry out, Kolodjasny's out. And I think a couple of others that off the top of my head, I can't think of right now. But yeah, he's just going to be playing lockdown key tall. And yeah, he's showing that he can't score in that spot. And I know his break even's only 60 something, but who knows? He might not even get that this week as a key defender now.
Can you say Kolodjasny for me one more time?
I think I nailed it, to be honest.
I reckon you did it right, to be fair. Like I agree with you. I just wanted to hear you say that name again. Fourth up on the list is the Drizzwild, Nathan O'Driscoll. He's already missed 1 week from his injury diagnosis, which was 4 to 6, I believe. I mean, you just ditch. Honestly, goodbye. If you've got him, if you held, then you just get rid of. Simple. Joshy, any adversary to that?
Yeah, I think the only reason anyone could have held last week was to use him as a live. But yeah, this week he's got to go. I think he's still 5 to 6 weeks away, even after missing last week. So unfortunately, he's got to go. Cash in that coin.
Yeah, I agree. Verns, I assume you're in the same camp?
Yeah, agree.
Perfect. Matty Roberts is third on this list. I know we all play Supercoach differently, but personally, I am holding for this week, and I am 100%, as soon as I can, turning him into Tom Stewart the week after. That's so hold this week, but after that, catch us. See you, mate. Like, it seems he's just, I don't know, lost the role. They prefer Bice. I was honestly expecting him to go nuclear against the Pies, but our game plan really just did not benefit him in any way, shape, or form. He still went all right, but obviously I can understand when you're looking at that and you've paid what you have, you're probably keen to ditch him and then chuck a little bit of coin on top to get to a premium defender or midfielder through DPP. Joshy, what's your thoughts with Roberts?
Yeah, I'm the exact same as you in terms of the plan to switch him to Stewart. I think you definitely keep him this week, unless you do have cash lying around, because I think with a Matty Roberts, if I was to get him out, it would to go up, unless it's a Tom Stewart. And obviously you can't bring Tom Stewart in this week with that 162 break even. No. So you probably have to wait for that. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be getting Roberts down. So at the moment, I'm just happy to upgrade around him, obviously bringing in the Daicos this week and just keep upgrading around him until I can sideways him to a Stewart, or even, who knows, he might kickstart his scoring again and be a hold for a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Verns, anything more to add? Any different point of view at all?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've decided this season that my entire strategy is just holding all these mid prices right through, get them to the middle buys, and then start worrying about it then, get the rookies off field in the meantime. So I think this is a good example of a rage trade Monday, 2 bad scores and people trying to ditch him. I understand the role and Bison, all of that. But once again, he's much higher floor than a rookie. We should be really focusing on trying to upgrade right now. If you're making kind of a sideways to a degree, going Roberts to another premium, I don't know. I'm just trying to play it differently this year, and I'm going to say hold fat. Just keep holding fat.
Wonderful, wonderful. The second most popular traded out player is Jack Henderson. Now, I am so dirty on him. Not because of his score, but because when he was subbed out on 12, then he dropped to 11, and then he got scaled to 13. So it was just annoying trying to project prices and all that kind of stuff. But 3 different times, like it's a matter of 1 point, and it's just painful. Anyway, he was deplorable. He was shocking, but I'm sure he'll have a better game next round, whether that's in the 2s or as sub. But as far as I'm concerned, I think I'm going to ditch him, even though I'm not going to make anything of it. If he's dropped, I'll probably keep, to be honest, as a loop. Joshy, your thoughts on Jack Henderson?
Yeah, I think he's, for me, the perfect person to trade to Tom Gross. I mean, you net 50K and you just run with it. I mean, in the end, like, it's not the worst thing, Henderson. Like, he did make 67K. I mean, it probably hurts if you had to field him. I didn't have to field him, but I mean, makes you 67K. You can now trade him to a Tom Gross, who has, I think, the second best break even in the game at the moment. And then, you just say your goodbyes. It is quite annoying that he couldn't score well, given he did end up having that forward status. I mean, it could have been pretty handy if he was in the mid 60s average, but not to be. And yeah, I think he's going to get dropped to the 2s. I would be shocked if he holds his spot.
Yeah, understood, mate. Understood. Verns, what's your thoughts on Jack Henderson? Are you trading or are you holding?
I mean, personally, I'm not too sure as of yet. I think he is a big trade, but it does come down to the Moraes situation. If Moraes ends up getting dropped as well, then that 40 extra K, it does something for my trade. So that's pretty important for me. But I would say overall, he's definitely a trade in most situations.
Yep, understood. Understood. And the number 1 traded out player at the time of going live is Sammy Davidson. Now, this bloke was an absolute cult hero when he scored that 129 against Carlton. And so far, he's just done what's expected of him. He's gone 54 and 61 post that huge score in the buys. I mean, he's at 293K. His break even is just a little bit lower than what his average is, but because that's boosted up by that mammoth score, I think it's fair to say you can trade Sam Davidson as long as you're getting a premium for him. You literally, I know a lot of people are boosting and they're going 2 down, 1 up, which is fairly viable in most cases. And Davidson is a part of that combination to get a premium back in and most of the bubble boys into your side. And currently he's a part of my trade plans if everything goes well Thursday night team sheets. Joshy, what's your thoughts on Sammy Davidson?
I mean, this is a guy, like you said, who did score a 129, but when you look at his average and you see an average of 71 with a 129 in there, that shows you how low his scoring can be besides that big spike score. The only problem that I'm getting a little bit of worries about is that he plays Saints this week, and they're a very favourable matchup for the Wings. I think they're the 3rd easiest matchup or something, and it was against Carlton at Marvel, where the game is this weekend, that he scored that 129. I think Carlton are the easiest matchup for Wings. So another top 3 wing matchup at the same ground, that does give me a little bit of concern. But I think he's my ticket to Daicos. And I mean, if you're getting Nick Daicos in for a rookie, like really, it doesn't really matter who the rookie is. You're getting an absolute A-grade talent into your team. And yeah, I mean, at the moment it's him or Humphrey, and can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to be holding Humphrey against the Tigers. And to be fair, like I did miss out on Marich, but Humphrey's scoring hasn't been horrible. Like it was 64-74, Marriage went way better. But at the end of the day, Humphrey's made 76K and he's going to be a pretty easy trade to Petrarca. But yeah, it's him or Davidson that goes, and I can completely understand why everyone's going Davidson.
Yep, perfect. Verns, anything more to add on Sammy Davidson?
No, exact same boat as you fellas.
Perfect. Now, that was literally, of all coaches, the highest round ownership changes going out. We're flipping it over. We're going to the other side, bring them in, and shout out to one of the channel's really good friends, Supercoach God. This bloke, he drilled me today for putting some numbers up about his pod, but geez, I am intrigued and may even go there myself. Ned Long. I know, 280K. Joshy, talk to me about Ned Long. I know you're against it. I can see from that stern look on your face and the abusive text messages you sent me today. But what are your thoughts?
I'm not as against it as you think I am. The
So
only problem
you
is
just wanted to throw some slurs at me. That's basically
yeah,
it.
of course I did. Every
Absolutely.
opportunity I can, I
Warranted.
take it.
You all know where to find me.
But no, the reason that I'm just not bringing him in at the moment is like I do need to do that Davidson to Daicos trade. And I think Cleary and Gross are near on must-have rookies at the moment with their break-evens. Like I think it's -60 and -80 something. So that means I can't get in along at this stage. I would be lying if I said I didn't try today trade Max Hall instead of Jack Henderson and bring in Long instead of Gross, but I couldn't afford it. Wasn't even close to affording it. So I'd be lying if I said I didn't try to do it. I think there is definitely grounds to get him in. I'm more tempted to hear yours and Vern's opinions, obviously, as Collingwood men. But yeah, like his scoring's well when he's playing on the field, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Craig McRae said he won't be sub anytime soon. So yeah, it's definitely something to look at. And not too sure about your run. I think your run's reasonably good, but yeah, I mean, I really can't fault it anymore. Having deeply looked into it, just can't fit him in.
Verns, what's your thoughts, mate?
Oh, mate, he was sensational on the weekend. It was a Tom Mitchell light, really. Like, it was great to see. Contested pig, getting those hand passes out, looks so good. I understand Perryman went behind the ball to help, obviously, reassure our defense. He played 0 CBAs, which, that could affect Long, but I don't know. He's just Long can't play anywhere else. He has to play in there. He has to get the ball and get a hand pass out. You hope to the God he's not kicking it, but as long as he's getting a hand pass out, I'm pretty confident it's hitting a target. No, he was really good. I honestly wanted him after round 2, I think it was round 2 or round 1. But then he ended up sub, so I jumped out of the pick and look, it makes sense. He had 2 terrible scores after that, but then to see him do this, just, it reassures me that what I saw in that first game that made me want him wasn't just a one-off. He can definitely be a scorer and he can definitely be a moneymaker. It's just now he's such an awkward price on a week where, as sort of Joshy said, there's 2 must-have rookies, it feels like. So it's just wrong time, wrong place, unfortunately, for Ned Long.
I want to ask you, as a Collingwood supporter, what does Ned Long do for Nick Daicos?
Oh, I think he's great. Obviously, Daicos is not a contested bull. He doesn't get in and get the ball. He's waiting outside to get the receive and hit a target. And Long just, as I said, it's a Tom Mitchell light. He just goes in there, gets that ball, and laces up a hand pass. And that then, allows Daicos to do what he does on the outside. So I love it.
Absolutely. I am, as I alluded to before, if teams don't go as I think they will, this bloke is a huge chance to come in for me. A huge chance. Now, I know he didn't do very well against the Bulldogs. That's a 57. Completely understand that. The round prior, where he wasn't the sub, he went at 1.2 points per minute against Port, albeit it was a smashing. I completely get that. Right? So he's gone, and then obviously against the Bulldogs, he's had a down game. Understood. He's been sub against Carlton, which that was bewildering. I did not understand that. Against Sydney, he's gone at 1.1 points per game. Now, you just alluded to that Harry Perryman had 0 CBAs. Perryman's not going to affect Ned Long. I don't think so, especially while Houston's out. Perryman was literally touted all through the week at training that he's going to go behind the plate and play the Houston role. We didn't bring anyone in that used. There was no Jacob Ryan. We didn't bring anyone else in that plays that role. Perryman moved back. You can see it statistically on the 0 CBAs against Sydney.
Now, when I did say that, I didn't mean this coming week. I do mean when obviously Houston comes back, how Perryman then affects long after that. Yeah, sorry.
The only thing that I'd be worried about is when DeGoey is back. And it depends on the degree of fitness he's at when he's back. If Geordie's playing, if he's 100% fit, he's not playing forward. He's playing in the middle. But as you said, I don't see where Long can play other than the midfield. And what he does for Daicos, it's literally a la Tom Mitchell, and it's just grunt work in straight out to Daicos. And Joshy, you said you're jumping on Nick this week. So as long as Long's in the team, you're going to be extremely happy with that pick. But enough about Ned Long. If you want any more info about that, definitely inbox our beautiful, beautiful friend, Supercoach God, because he will sell you the house on him. The next pick, I don't understand this at all. Joshy, are you or do you have any interest in Locky Ash?
No, I do not.
No.
I know why there's a few people that are interested. I think he's what's he going on at the moment? He's going at 112.8 average, with a low score of 80 and 320 plus scores. So he's playing really well. But I think out of his own team, he's the third best defender behind Lockie Whitfield and Harry Himmelberg. So, I mean, it shows one thing. There's a lot of points to be had in that Juniors backline. But, yeah, I just think that we spoke about last week on both Team Drop Thursdays and also last week's iteration of Rave Trade Mondays that how are you going to pick a top 8 and 10 out of the defenders this year? We listed off about 20 guys that could be in that top 8. Had Locky Ash to that as well. I think you want to go towards those guys that are a little bit more closer to that top 8 that we can really lock in. And I think for a little bit more Max Holmes and a little bit extra Wanganeen-Milera, they're more locked in and they'll probably be eyeing off them over a Locky Ash.
Yeah, well summarised. Verns, do you have any interest in Locky Ash at all?
Nah, not at all. I think this, once again, a good example of Rage Trade Monday. You had a bad Roberts score, you see a nice Locky score, you switch them in your teams, and you're like, that looks much better. But you're not going to actually stick to it.
No, I think that perfect. I have nothing more to add on that. You've just summed that up brilliantly. Next player, Joshy, I'm going to let you talk about Andrew Brayshaw because he was your captain. If you, just for argument's sake, if you didn't own Andrew Brayshaw, who are you bringing in? Is it still Daicos or is it Brayshaw?
I think a big factor is 40K difference between them. So it's obviously what you can afford. I mean, myself, I'm looking at Zach Merritt's run. I think it's a lot better than Daicos, but I'm asking myself, what can that extra 28K do for me? And I think as the weeks go on, that's going to be really beneficial, maybe for next week or the week after. So applying that same logic, I'd still go Daicos over Brayshaw because 40K is even more than 28K. And at the end of the day, I really don't think the difference in scoring from now on won't be too dissimilar. And honestly, I mean, look at Nick Daicos' second and third year of AFL footy. They're both 115 plus averages across the season. I think we're about to start seeing that now. He just dropped 134 against the James Jordan tag. So yeah, out of them two, you're asking me that, I'd definitely go with Daicos. If you already have Daicos, though, I think he's honestly going to the moon. He's 624K with a break-even of 83. So he's going to be unattainable soon, probably going to get past Bond's score, especially when Bond, I think, might drop a bit early. But yeah, then again, do you really want to be bringing in someone at 624K? I'd probably be trying to find a bit more value at this point in the season.
If anyone gets anything out of your answer that you just gave then, I hope to God that it's that 40K is more than 28K. That's what you learn around here. Absolute express quick maths live from Joshy. Verns, what's your thoughts on Andrew Brayshaw?
Oh, fellas. I mean, I mentioned it earlier that I made the decision to keep Kako instead of Patton. And that did involve me not bringing Andy Brayshaw this week and getting like Jordan Clark instead. And look, bit painful. But at the end of the day, like money is going to be tight, and hopefully Kako can reward me and make that extra money to, sort of make up for it, sort of thing. And it's not that Clark's a bad pick. It hurts for the 1 week. It does hurt for the 1 week. But you're definitely right. He's super expensive. And like we've just talked about how many dead rookies or bad rookies there are. There's not many cash makers, it feels right now. Like sometimes I look at my team and I really think, man, am I going to struggle to actually complete a team right now? Because I just feel like I have so much dead pine. And I think because of that, paying, as Josh said, even an extra 40K, it could hurt even next week's trades. You might have to then wait a week to make an upgrade because you don't have that extra 40K. And it's very steep. I personally think you just don't worry because of how expensive he is. I think you'd look for other options. As Joshy said, get Daicos.
Yep, no. Fantastic summary. The next bloke on the list actually had a role change. There's no DPP, clearly, because it was only one game, but it's Connor Rozee. Is it a buy or is it just literally wait and see? Because I'm more than happy to wait and see. But if he's going to continue on that half-back role, it's the easiest role in the game, and it just literally churns out points. So I'm more than happy to just wait and see at this point in time. Joshy, your thoughts?
It's a really tough one because I don't think this halfback role is going to continue for the whole season. He's just too good as a midfielder. And I think there's going to be times that Butters is going to be tagged out of the game. Horn Francis may be a little bit off and they're going to need Rozee in the midfield. Now, in saying that, this is a guy that still started off the season with 128 and 130. And that's why it confused me a little bit that so many people trade him out, especially because you can give him a mulligan against St Kilda with that 76. He copped that Windhager tag, and it was Butters' first game back. Now, from now on, for the rest of the season, I don't think that Rosee's going to cop any more tags. I think it's going to be all Butters. They got Sydney this week. I think Jordan goes straight to Butters. So in terms of that, I think Rosee's going to be the one that doesn't cop any tags anymore. But if you're picking him just for that half-back role, I can't say with certainty that he's going to keep it for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, I think there's too much uncertainty around it. And even with the half-back role, I don't think he's a top 8 mid. Verns, your thoughts on Connor Rozee?
Yeah, I mean, look, you did just mention top 8 mid. I mean, we could be getting gifted here. We have Bud as a top tier mid. We could have Rozee as a top tier defender, and then Horn Francis as a top tier forward. Port are delivering the goods for us right now, I think. Look, you can wait a week at the end of the day. There's no rush into it. He's not got a crazy, low break even. Just wait and see. Saying that, how wild would it be to see James Jordan go to him at the halfback? Because we know James Jordan tags halfbacks. We know he does it the Whitfield. How wild would it be to see that? I mean, I really hope it doesn't, but not out of the realm of possibility.
I reckon there would be a lot of new coaches that would probably say a lot of things that this time slot does not warrant if James Jordan goes straight to Connor Rozee this week. Our next player, now I don't know if you gentlemen watched this game, but Jesus, like this bloke was insane. If I had owned him in Supercoach, I would have been absolutely over the moon because he insane game. And that's Niah Wanganeen-Milera. Anyone who wants to trade him in, go for it. By all means, go for it. I think it was the highest rated St Kilda performance by an individual in like 5+ years or something. Like, it was insane. The only thing that I didn't like was one of his goals came from him directly leading out of the goal square. And that's the only thing that I didn't like about it. But if he doesn't get 3 Brownlow votes for that performance, I know they lost, then, yeah, something's going on. Joshy, what's your thoughts on Wanganeen-Milera?
Well, I've always liked him. I always like those players that are young that have those seasonal average jumps each year, and he had that. I mean, having a really quick glance now, he went from 55 to 85 to 101. So like he was having those season-on-season jumps, but my only concern is his ceiling. I mean, that was a 3-goal, 24 disposal game, and he only went 133. Like on those stats alone, you're probably hoping for at least 150. Like you look at Brayshaw's stats, you compare them to Wanganeen-Milera's in face value. Brayshaw got 155 when Wanganeen-Milera got 133. So he does like ceiling, but he's as consistent as ever. So I guess it really weighs up. Do you want that consistency or do you want that ceiling? Because looking at last season, across his 22 games, he had 12 tons, but only 2 120-plus scores. In saying that, this year he's played 6 games and already had 2 120-plus scores. The only thing is they're low 120-plus scores. So that's the only knock I have on him. It's his ceiling. Obviously not going to kick 3 goals every week, but bloody hell, he looked good. On the ground, that was really, really poor for half-back flankers. I mean, we saw a Dale 68, a Zorko 82, a Whitfield 85, and Sinclair just snuck to 108 with that late goal. So, yeah, he was impressive, but, yeah, just that ceiling.
Yep, no, understood. Verns, do you have any objection to bringing in Niah Wanganeen-Milera?
No, I think JG summed it up really nicely. I would also like to hate on that Sinclair late goal again for owners to just keep getting them up. Very annoying. But Nass also had the opportunity to kick a couple more himself, sort of thing. He just was off the mark a little bit, so could have had a massive one. But yeah, definitely a problem with that ceiling. Unfortunately, too much uncontested ball, which was really good for him, but not great for our Supercoach scores.
Yep, perfect. Next player is Max Holmes. Now, you talk about consistency literally 30 seconds ago, Joshy. This is on the other end of consistency. Round 1, 125, then a 91, followed with a 127, then a 72, then a 147. To me, that's just yo-yo vibes. I have no doubt that he'll be in the conversation for top 10 defender, but I feel like he's going to be on the outer of top 6. Is that a fair statement to say?
I think so. And I think that 147 was with him playing a little bit more defence on the weekend with no Tom Stewart. Tom Stewart back, does that kind of regress those points a little bit? Maybe, but I mean, at halftime, this was looking like a 200.
He was on 100
fire.
literally a minute into that half.
Yeah, he was on fire. Like, so to end up on 147, it was a relief for non-owners. Probably a little bit frustrating as big as the score is for owners, but I think this guy is definitely top 8. I mean, again, we did say before how many guys could be top 8, but I think Holmes is going to have enough of those ceiling scores to get in there. Obviously, his only sub-90 score this year was that tag again, with Sparrow on him. Looking at the tags coming up, maybe a Bedforded round 9, but other than that, it looks pretty clean until about round 18 again when he cops Bedford again. So, I mean, this is a pick that at his price, I mean, 542K for someone that's on 147 at the moment, averaging, He's averaging 112 at the moment. I think, yeah, go for it if you can bring him in.
Yep. Verns, your thoughts on Maxi Holmes?
Yeah, I mean, well summed up. As you sort of mentioned with the tag, with Geelong, who else are you going to tag? Like, he is 100% the tag target in any given situation where the other team has a tagger, unfortunately. Obviously, they have Hawks this week. Finn McGuinness hasn't been tagging, but they do deploy him if someone gets off the chain. So, that could end up going Holmes' way if he, he might get to 100 at halftime, but then he might just stay on 100 for the second half. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think Joshy summed it up well.
One thing I will add on top of what Burns has said is it does genuinely look like he has become that tag target now, which is why with that 160 break even next week, Tom Stewart, I think he is near on a guy that you need to get into your team. Yes. Just because he's not that tag target anymore. And that's what affected him the last couple of seasons, which ended up him moving into the midfield, all these different ways to try and get that tag off him. Was tried by Geelong. And I think, Vern summed it up perfectly. Holmes is that tag target now, and even more reason to bring Stewart in when he drops to as low as he's going to get.
If Tommy Stewart's not at the top of this list next week, then my goodness, something will be wrong there. Fourth on the most traded in is Saad El Hawley. Personally, I reckon you can wait a week. I really do, because then the 16 drops out of the price cycle and that negative 11 break even will be a lot lower. I'd happily pay 160 for him, honestly. He looked good, real good. Joshy, you're the Bombers, man. What's your thoughts? Surely he's not going to be the sub, is he?
Well, I don't know. He's been sub 2 games in a row, and if it wasn't for that Nick Bryan ACL, which is so unfortunate, it sucks because he's our future ruckman, and Draper was actually looking pretty good as a forward. I think he's kicked a fair amount of goals this year to start the year, so it's unfortunate for him. But it meant Saad came on, ended up with 67-62% TOG, so he scores at a decent rate, but my only concern is that 2 out of 2 games he's been sub. We've still got some players that can come in the near future. Does he get a full-time go in the coming weeks? I think I really want to have a wait and see. And like you said, I actually asked you today to crunch the numbers for me if he scored, say, a 70 this week, and he only gets to 155K from a 70. So I think those must-have rookies that I'm looking at are the Gross and the Clearys with those big break evens. And I think that if Side goes 70 again, you just cut your losses, spend that little bit extra and get him in at 155.
Yep, perfect. Verns, do you have anything more to add on El Hawley?
Yeah, the only thing I'd say there is he's been a really good sub. And sometimes when you play the sub role really, really well, they just keep using you in it. He brings this dash and this energy when he comes on. He's already so quick that, when people are gassed halfway through a game and all of a sudden you get this on the field, it'd be a nightmare to deal with. So, he's doing a great sub role, maybe too good of a sub role, unfortunately.
Yeah. And one thing I say as an Essendon fan, another sub that Scott likes to use is Menzies, and after his 4 goals, don't think he's going to be sub anytime soon again. And yeah, as you said, he was massive in that Essendon Port game that we won only by 2 goals. He was massive in that last quarter with that run, as you said. One of those goals that we ended up getting late was when he came dashing out of the half-back line, got the ball to around the middle of the ground, got it back, and then gave it off again further down the ground. So is he going to be that impact sub? I guess we're going to have to wait and see.
I want to know why you never take me seriously when I say that Jai Menzies a beast.
Because you haven't been an Essendon fan for the last 3 years that just watches him. Although against Melbourne was pretty bloody good, but Melbourne's 0-5, so how else can we read into that?
Mate, Jai Menzies going to win the Coleman. Simple as that. This next bloke, third on the list, I'm not going to say anything about him because we've been going for literally 49 minutes. There's 112 people watching, and if they want my opinion on Nick Daicos, you have no idea who I am. Joshy, why are you bringing him in?
Purely because I think 584K for someone that started the season at mid-630s is just a bargain. 2 seasons in a row, 115 plus. And yeah, as I said, I was so impressed with a 134 against Jordan, who's a top 3 tagger in the game. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, and the Masters are trading him in, and I think that's why.
Verns, are you bringing in Nick Daicos?
I'm not. I do not have the funds to be able to do that. And I know you talked about Jordan tag, but he definitely did not tag him all game long. He started on him. He was rough with him early, and then honestly just went wherever. I saw him standing next to Ned Long 3 CBAs in. So I don't think it was actually a Jordan tag. It's just one of those things where he was next to him to start the game. Jordan is a very defensive mid, but in reality, like, he was not tagging Daicos. Daicos had a free run at it, honestly. And I do think he falls into, unfortunately, the same category as Holmes. If there's anyone you're tagging from Collingwood, it's Daicos. I think maybe we're a little bit of a better team helping Daicos through it because we've had to deal with it for the last 3 years. But even then, he is a beast. I completely understand, and his highs are going to be really, really high. So love it.
Now, Verns, I never, ever, ever, ever in the history of us knowing each other disagree with you, but I want to disagree with you right now. I disagree that it was not a Jordan tag. I reckon it was a failed tag.
I think Daicos just ran him off his legs.
He ran him absolutely stupid, and Jordan couldn't keep up with him. And that's nothing against Jordan because, like, I'm not an elite runner. Joshy, I don't know about you, but you don't look like a fellow that loves cardio. And Verns, I reckon you're the same. There's no way anyone was keeping up with Nick that day. No way. Jordan went – you are right in the aspect of saying that it wasn't a full-blown tag, but the reason it wasn't is because he couldn't keep up with him. And it was so simple to see that Long had the most contested possessions in the game. He got switched to him to stop it at the source, and that was it. It was game over. As soon as that happens, Daicos is going to kill you. As long as he's got the feed, he will slaughter you. And so I reckon that you are right in a sense that it wasn't a complete tag because he beat him. He ran him off his legs. And again, I could go for another hour on it because, he's my love child, but we're going to move on. The second most traded in player here, and I completely understand it, is Tom Gross. He has a negative 65 break even. Personally, I think he's a better option than Clay Hall was, but that's hindsight. Like, there's no one's predicting that off of last week. You're not going to go early on Gross, and chances are, unless you were silly like me and mucked up your trades, you weren't going to miss Clay Hall. But I did. I have no issue with bringing in Tommy Gross at all. Joshy, what's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I don't really have any issues at all either. I'm bringing him in. 113K is really nice. I still think Clay Hall is going to be all right. I mean, he's already made 57K. Still is a -8 break even. The only concern is a possible drop or sub risk. But at the end of the day, I mean, they dropped Tim Kelly and he only had 20 touches in the waffle. And you look at the rest of that waffle game and Eagles really don't have many options to bring in. And yeah, I mean, Hall was touchless in that last quarter, but I mean, before that, he was pretty good, went at 100%. So I hope he can hold. And yeah, Gross 51 and 82 has looked pretty good. And I think it was 18 touches on the weekend. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Verns, your thoughts on Tom Gross? Are you trading him in?
Oh, yeah. Him and Cleary, 100%. No questions asked. No more to add. He looked great. I think he definitely proved that he's higher in the pecking order than Hall this week, when it comes to team selection as well. So super happy there.
I will confess, if team sheets do not go my way, RE Sardis is not picked. If he's not picked, then I will be missing Tom Gross. But that leads me to the number one most traded in player since we started is Kaden Cleary, forward position, has a break even of negative 73, kind of playing that Papley role. Papley's pretty much Gornsky for the next, I think it's safe to say, 6 weeks, which is a shame for him, but it's fantastic for our Supercoach options. We are all bringing in Kaden Cleary, yes?
Yep.
I am.
Yep. I think it's fair to say he was probably going to play at the start of the year before that unfortunate indiscretion.
Yeah, he was, and I'm pretty sure Cox has actually said it himself that he probably would have got a go if it wasn't for that suspension. I
really liked his game purely because it wasn't like a half-forward flank graveyard shift operation.
Yeah.
Like it was up the ground, really running the lines. I don't know if that's because of Collingwood's tactics to go wide and not direct, but I really enjoyed everything I saw from him. Is there a world where you don't bring him in this week, Verns?
Nah, not personally. Like, I don't care if you're not upgrading this week for some reason. You're definitely downgrading to them and banking some cash.
Yep. Joshy, is there a world where you're not bringing Kaden Cleary in?
Not for me, and I think you're like bang on about his role. It's not really that small forward role.
Mhm.
Like looking at his last week heat map, he actually had only 2 touches inside the forward 50, and he actually had more touches in the defensive 50 with 3. You look at his stats, look at his touches other than that, and they were bulk in the middle of the ground. And this is a guy that in his 2 games has had 6 and 7 tackles. So already you're looking at a fair few points from just tackles. I think that's a really big part of his game. And I mean, he's played the 2 games of AFL this season since his suspension. The game before the suspension, he played at a VFL and had 36 posies. So I think he's this. I think he's someone that Sydney really want to give a go and keep getting games into. So yeah, I cannot fault the pick at all.
I'm huge on points per minute, and this bloke is better than Tom Gross, El Hawley, out of the average of the games they've played, because obviously El Hawley's unfortunately been the sub, so points per minute is a fantastic indicator, and he just ticks those boxes. We are done with the top 10 trade outs and trade ins from all coaches. We are going to get to some comments and some shout outs. Pro was definitely keen for this. A big shout out to our man, Brad. He's been on this channel. If you don't know who he is, check him out on Twitter. Check out his channel. Had a monster score this week. Did really well. Logs, probably one of my most favourite Carlton supporters going around. It makes me sick to say that. He didn't get to see teams. He traded in Captain Sardis because of me. Smashed the house up and the kids have left. Thanks a lot, mate. Fair. Joshy, John D wants to know, is it better to trade out non-playing rookies, Campo and Sardis, geez, that hurts to read, or Spuds, Moraes and Kako for Gross and Cleary? I was hoping Sardis would get a game sometime soon. What is your thoughts on this one, Joshua?
So Camporelli, I've got stuck on my bench as well, and I think just because he's at 113k, unless you're going to be switching straight to a Gross, it's not really worth trading at the moment. Purely because people like me, I think pretty much everyone's going to be in the same boat where we're trying to get a primo in, we're trying to upgrade. And the only way we can do that is by trading rookies that have some sort of value down and then another rookie up. So I think Campo is just a hold for now. I mean, me personally, I know Levi's had 2 really good scores in a row, but he has had a 30 this year. So I'm going to be looping him on the Thursday night using Camporelli, and I think anyone that has that opportunity, you may as well try and do it. Sucks that Carlton play the second game of the round again, so you really don't have much flexibility with that Campo, but can still do it with Levi. In terms of Sardis, though, I definitely, if he doesn't get back in, be trading him over Kako, just because Kako's playing. As I mentioned before, within the next 3, he's got West Coast and North. So I think as a small forward, there could be a couple spike scores in there. And yeah, I think a Moraes, you can easily trade him if you want to. I've traded him just to, as I said, fund those primo trade-ins.
Yep, perfect. Verns, what's your thoughts on this, mate?
No, look, I 100% agree. Everything Joshy said. I'm also going to be looping with Campo. And look, as you said, there's no point in trading him. Hopefully he gets back to the team sometime and he just needs to play a couple of games, make a bit of quick money, and then you can worry about offloading him after that sort of thing. But right now, it's just a waste of a trade.
Yep, understood. No, don't worry about it. Sardis is going to be picked and he is going to absolutely cook. Simple as that. Verns, I want to know, are you getting Petrarca or do you have any plans to get Track? Or did you start him by that smile on your face?
No, I did not start him, but if this man watched my video earlier that I posted, I did end the video with Track in the team, and I'll be honest, it's not 100% a want for Track. It's a more or less, that's the bracket I can really afford somebody in, and out of the bad bunch, I don't mind him. I think he looked a lot better this week. He obviously shanked the easiest goal in the world, which could have pushed him to probably 105 to 110. I think he looked better. He has a super easy matchups coming up. We talked about it with Clary. We've got Richmond, I think, in there, and West Coast. I think those are two of the next three, and we have Freo this week. So some super easy matchups. I know Freo notoriously smash Melbourne no matter where Melbourne is on the ladder. But yeah, I think if you get him in, you can definitely wait a week. He's got a 101 break even. There's no rush to get him in. But me personally, I want Stewart next week. So I'm thinking I can get him this week and get Stewart next week. It's either that or I don't upgrade. And I kind of want to keep my upgrade cadence going.
Yep, perfect. I really like that. Rookie coach, just a shout out to us three. If anyone does not know who the rookie coach is, please go and check out his channel. Does some fantastic work, really knows his stuff, and probably does himself a discredit by calling himself the rookie coach, because I don't really agree with that. Now, this next bloke, the absolute legend, Causer, shout out to you, mate. He wants to know, Henderson, Campo, and Davidson to Daicos, Cleary, and Gross. Are we all ticking that off? Because I am.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect.
No, don't change it, mate. Don't trade it. Lobsters SC, Sardis trade in this week. Oh, that's naughty. That's very naughty. DM me and we'll talk about it. Roddy Todd, thank you so much for your wonderful comment on last week's stream, actually. It was amazing to see that feedback, mate. I'm glad you're enjoying it. He wants to know if you can only pick one, Gross or Cleary. Who has better job security? Who has best scoring potential? Thanks, boys. Joshy, who are you picking?
I'd go Cleary. Just because of those tackles, because he came straight in from a 36 disposal VFL performance. And as you said, because he's playing up the ground, he's not really playing that deep small forward role. And I mean, Gross is someone that even in the bottom place Eagles side, only really are they bottom? I don't know. I think they're near the bottom. In the bottom place Eagles side, only just got a game the last couple of weeks, whereas Cleary came into a pretty strong Sydney side. I know they're only 9th or 10th at the moment, but I think Cox is pretty keen on him. As for job security, happily out. The only players Swans really have to come in at the moment are defenders. Your Malikins, your Mills, and a couple of others. I think Goulden's still ages away. So I think Cleary's going to be pretty safe. McInerney, I think, played last week, but if not, again, he's a defender wing. So I think Cleary's pretty safe.
Yep. Verns, choose one.
100% Cleary. No question about it. If you're going to choose two rookies that seem like they have the similar sort of scoring potential, it's got to come down to job security. And if not anything, I think Cleary has better scoring potential on top of that. So definitely lock him in.
I'm going Cleary. 100% Cleary. G-Bag says, hey, fellas, thoughts on trading Roberts to Wanganeen-Milera? Other options include Locky Ash. No. Clark, I can understand that. Or Holmes, I can understand that. Are you trading Roberts this week to any of them boys?
No.
Joshy?
No, I wouldn't.
Yep. All right. Wait a week and go to Stewart. Simple as that. Thoughts on Will Brodie getting tagged in the waffle? I like that from Bailey. Honestly, didn't Will Brodie fall off a cliff? He was like a fantastic starting pick. And then, just literally fell off a cliff. Placey wants to know, Merritt or Daicos this week? Geez, I thought Placey would have went Merritt, actually. Who are you bringing in?
Well, I'm in this exact same predicament at the moment with Whitfield at outside chance, but I'm probably not going to go there. At the moment, as I said, it's Daicos just because of that extra 28K in net. But Merritt does have the better run, so I don't know. It might come down to who you like watching more, Placey. And as an Essendon fan with a very strange Dan Gorringe profile picture,
yes,
go Merritt if you like watching him more.
Verns, who are you bringing in?
Lock in Daicos. Easy.
Thank you. Good to see some sense. But honestly, Placey, if you're still confused, just DM Joshy. I'm sure you blokes can talk about Essendon for hours. Locky Spiteri says that he missed out on Brayshaw. Do I bring him in before Daicos or Merritt? I can afford any midfielder. I think the consensus is Daicos because he's cheaper than Merritt. Is that fair to say, gentlemen?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Roddy Todd wants to know if Rozee is going to keep his backline role. If so, is he a good trade-in or scores 2 up and down with no kick-ins? Not sure if a trap or good value. I would not go near Rozee. No, thank you. No, just wait and see.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near it. As I said before, I cannot confirm that backline role is going to persist for the whole season.
Verns, your thoughts?
Don't own him. Just wait a week.
Perfect. Roddy also wants to know, why are people so big on Daicos? Doesn't have a must-trade-in schedule. Sorry, so many questions. Mate, that's what we're here for. Don't stress. Do not apologise for asking questions. And obviously, if for some reason it doesn't get read out, literally just add us on Twitter. You know all our socials. Joshy, I want to ask you this. Verns, you're not bringing in Daicos, are you?
Unfortunately not.
Okay, so it really only applies to Joshy because I own Nick. Why are you so big on Daicos?
As I said before, this is someone who in his second and third year of AFL averaged 116 and 117. And they're with tags as well. This tag thing isn't new. He copped tags last year, he copped tags the year before, still did those big average seasons. And I think at 584K, this is a great price to get him. I know you, Verns, didn't start him last year where everyone did. He had a very similar start where he copped a Jordan tag early. I think there might have been another tag in there as well. And you got him at, I think, maybe 560K.
Yeah,
and
I did.
think this is just the time to jump on him, I think. 134, he's already had another 130 as well. I think it's a 3-round average of 117. I think he's just starting to get going. And yeah, he had that interrupted preseason. So besides the tags, I'm not surprised that he did start slow. And I just think now is the time to jump on because he's going to get going.
Wonderful. Michael wants to know our thoughts on Roberts to Nick Martin, swing Martin forward, R.E. Stone. That's juicy.
No.
And I would be half tempted. Geez, Verns, why not?
Oh, mate. I mean, Nick Martin's all right, but is he even a top 6 forward at the end of the day? The weird thing with Track, Warner and Nick Martin, we all wanted them to get forward DPP, which is great and all, but then we kind of want them to return to their old role. We don't want them to actually be forwards. We just want them to get forward DPP. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if Nick Martin's going to average any more than Roberts, and if he does, is he in any different of a boat? Roberts is going to be outside the top 8 defenders. Nick Martin, maybe he's out the top 8 forwards. I feel like you're wasting a trade. You're just not doing anything with it. You're just going sideways unnecessarily.
Big call. Joshy, I think that you're bigger on Nick Martin than Track and Chad Warner. Is that fair?
Not in Track, but at the moment, I'd maybe take Nick Martin over Chad. In saying that, Chad did have those 2 big scores in his first 3 games, so it's a bit hard. But, I mean, Nick Martin, he's still going okay. He had that poor score to start the season, but, I mean, the last 3 he's gone at a 95 average, with his best score being the most recent with the 108. He starts off the half-forward flank and pushes up the ground. I think he still had something like 28 disposals on the weekend. It was 20 disposals the week before. So he's still getting touches. We've got a decent run, as I said before, West Coast and North within our next 3. But I am still team Petrarca if you were to bring in a forward this week, I think. And I think he's even cheaper than Nick Martin.
Yeah, just to add to this as well with Nick. Look, Nick Martin, I think he's a great footballer. I love watching him, but his scores have also been elevated a bit. He kicked the late goal against Port, and then he also had the I'm pretty sure he had a late goal this week as well. Really helped bolster those points to make him look like he's performing at probably a bit of a better average than what he maybe had to a degree. You take those goals out from both games, 220 points there, and maybe he's looking closer to that 80 average, and I don't think it's even a discussion.
Ooh, Oh, shots fired. Like it. BR42, if Sardis comes back in this week, Scobes needs to decorate the backdrop with tubs of it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wouldn't that be an image? He's coming in this week. Just hold faith. Simple as that. Pro says cash gen on these cows are suddenly drying up after 100K. I hope Hendo is dropped to loot. So do I, honestly. And I think, Joshy, you alluded to it earlier as well. The DPP is so handy to loop as well. And I'm sure, Verns, you would agree with that. Is that correct?
Yep.
Wonderful. James P says, sin for Track, Stewart, or Draper?
Now, I am actually happy Draper's been mentioned. Because this one is kind of going under the radar. He's got forward status now. And I mean, what's he currently priced at, Draper? He's priced at 411K. So he's had 2 tons to start the year. Nick Bryan going down with the ACL. So Draper's CBAs this season have been 36, 37, 24, and then 85 on the weekend with Nick Bryan going down. And he's managed 103, 72, 68 with those sub 40% CBAs. Now, on the weekend, Nick Bryan goes down early, has 85% CBAs, and goes 110. We know how good that number 1 ruck role can be for ruckman scoring. And at 411K now with that forward status, and I would be absolutely shocked if we brought Goldie in. I think we're going to bring in Peter Wright, and now Draper's going to push those CBAs up to 70% plus, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 95 plus average.
I cannot believe I'm saying this, but out of Track, Stewart, and Draper, if you're going to get one this week, I think it's Draper, isn't it? Verns, are we going mental?
Well, one thing I will say before Verns says anything, I think you might have to wait a week just to get one more look. But yeah,
if you don't bring Goldie in,
it's just the fact that Verns can have his say now, but I just think it's the fact that Draper's never done it before. But I mean, an 88 average across his 4 games with 3 games sub 40% CBAs. I don't know. I feel like this year in his contract year, if he gets that ruck roll, he could end up being pretty good.
Verns?
Yeah. I mean, Draper's definitely been looking better, but I think, as you said, looking better as a forward, looking really good as a forward, honestly. But I don't know, me personally, if I was looking at this, Stewart's obviously 100% next week, which really makes it a Track or a Draper discussion. And if you're getting Stewart next week, I mean, we just mentioned Track has Richmond and West Coast, in the next 2 out of the 3 games. If you don't get him this week, you're not getting him till, the following week. Sorry, if you're not getting him this week, you're not getting him next week, so you're not getting him till the week after that. I don't know. I feel like that's, you're missing out on some good matchups at that point. I would like to get him in straight away. I also do agree with Joshy. You probably want to wait on Draper. I don't know if I just want to go after 1 game straight onto Draper. And honestly, when he's been more of that permanent ruck, he hasn't been Supercoach relevant. I understand he's got the forward status, but he still hasn't been a good scorer just because he's been the single ruck or the sole ruck at times. So, I wouldn't be jumping on that personally.
One thing I will say though.
Go, Joshy.
Yeah, one thing I will say though, as an Essendon fan, this is the fittest I've seen him. So I don't know, maybe it is different this time around. Especially we do know how players play in their contract years, and I just think I did say I want to have one more look, but that's what's going to suck me in because he has West Coast this week. So that's 120 plus coming, and it's probably going to suck me in. But it just looks fitter than I've ever seen him. Like, he genuinely does. And he looks good. Like, he was really good against Max Gawn. Like, he didn't ruck against a no-name on the weekend. He rucked against Max Gawn, one of the greatest rucks of all time, who himself scored 145 and played really well too. So I think a 110 against Gawn says a lot more than it would against a no-name. But, yeah, it is risky. And as Vern said, I probably still would go Track. But it's definitely something you got to watch.
I reckon it's a psychological thing as well. When you hear Petrarca, Stewart, or Draper,
yeah,
that's purely psychological. If you're looking at statistics alone, as you just highlighted, number one ruck role, what he can do, look into it a little bit more. James P, if you're serious, Stewart's not an option this week. He's not. Look at the break even. Look into it a lot more because that is not silly at all. And if you hear Sam Draper as a forward, that's not like first time you hear it, that's not Supercoach relevant. Like, you literally laugh at that, but you shouldn't. You should genuinely look into that a little bit more and then make your decision. Because Track's not setting the world on fire. Yes, as Verns highlighted, got some good matchups. Stewart, you're waiting a week. That's a given. But Draper, I mean, I can't believe I literally said that Draper could seriously be a Supercoach option if the role continues. If the role continues.
Oh, man,
we
Scobes
need
going
to-
to up Draper with starters and be a full Essendon team by the end of this season, I'm telling you.
Where's the delete team button? Anyway, we need to get through these because, geez, I reckon there's still 125 people watching us, and we thank you so much for all these, but we need to shoot through the questions. Davidson, Henderson, and Freasier to Whitfield, Cleary, and Gross. I mean, tick that off. Surely no one is against that.
Yep. Tick.
Yeah, tick it off.
Wonderful. Uncle Akka, he did not swear, but he wants to know who we are. We'll get rid of that. Uncle Akka, you need to watch the merger video and you need to have a look at it because, honestly, who are you, mate? I haven't seen you in any of our streams, honestly, so maybe you should know who we are and we should know who you are if you're a loyal viewer. Jason Wickens. Joshy, you shouted this guy out. I don't know if it was last year preseason or this year. I can't remember. But Jace says, do you guys think that Dylan Moore could be a good option with CBAs massively increasing with Day's injury? He's now at a good price at $450K. I'm fairly sure he just turned as well. I lost interest at halftime, honestly. But decent shout. Think he just turned as well. Is anybody against this at all, or is it seriously just a case of wait and see?
I'm not against it.
Yeah, I'm not against it either, but I think maybe wait another week. He is bang on though. He had 50% CBAs on the weekend, scored that 101. I think Warple did his ankle again as well, so maybe there's even more CBAs to come in the future. But I mean, this is a guy that leading into this season went 94, 91, and 97.7 last year, which I think we all had him towards the back end of last year. But yeah, he definitely can go 95 plus average. He's literally shown it as recent as the most recent season. So yeah, if that Warple injury is bad again and he's done his ankle again and day out and these CBAs stay around, then this is an all-Australian player right here that can score well.
Verns, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, we've seen in the previous years, Dylan Moore always has a purple patch where he goes bananas. It just always happens. So, hey, it's a good price. And if that purple patch is coming soon and all the, indicators are pointing to it could be with that increased CBA role and how good he's been in the midfield, historically. So, yeah, I think it's a worthy shout and, big point of difference if you want to make it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Roddy Todd says, over 100 viewers and over 17 likes. Come on, people, show some love. Absolutely. Listen to Rod. Simple as that. Bloke speaks facts. Right. Jono, shout out to him. Check out his channel. He is an absolute superstar in the community. He said that he had Wanganeen-Milera in my team all week and then pivoted to Sarong due to better fixture run for the Dockers. I genuinely feel sick. Mate, you go for St Kilda anyway. That's on you. Enjoy feeling sick, mate, because that's on you. This next one, I don't know. It does say that it's true story, but this is just a shout out to how good of a bloke DR is. Bucky sent in, hope DR is okay. True story. He sells toys at the Caulfield Toy Fair. He gave my kids $100 worth of free toys and wouldn't take my money. Said my kids' smiles was better payment than cash. True legend. There are so many sentences we all could construct that probably aren't appropriate for this time slot to describe how good of a man this individual is, but genuinely, absolute legend of an individual. And if you're just stumbling onto this channel, don't like and subscribe for the 3 beautiful faces that are streaming right now. Do it for DR. Simple as that. Like, you will not find a better human. Travis Lubke says Dunkley will tag Daicos. Do we think that's true?
No.
Maybe plays a defensive role, but won't be tagging.
No, I
swear-
respectfully disagree.
I swear
mean, if they
Dunkley
tag, it's gonna be
usually lines
Barry.
up on-
It's normally
Yeah.
Berry, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Barry's their tagger.
And
Yeah.
I swear Dunkley usually lines up on Pendlebury. Like, I swear they do it every single time they play each other.
Yeah, well, we don't support gambling around here, but Jesus, Brisbane at $1.47, free money. Campbell Holtham, he wants to know, who is a better captaincy option, Anderson or Brayshaw? Jesus.
Anderson
I'd
against
say
the
Anderson.
Tigers.
Yeah, and
Anderson as well. Yeah, and I own neither, so
Yeah.
that's going to be a scary watch. Frankie Knuckles wants to know, is Bailey Smith an option this week if he hasn't got him?
oh mate, he's an option every
Yeah.
week if you haven't got him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's still 458k. Like, he's cheaper than Track, and he's out averaging Track by a long way. So, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Rookie coach, shout out to him. We've already given him so much love. But if your only vehicle to Daicos is Roberts, would you still pull the trigger and grab a value pick like Track to keep Roberts and get a rookie off you? I cannot answer this without any bias. Like, I'm sorry, mate. You know what I'm going to say to this. Verns and Joshy, your thoughts?
I would
I
like
think
to
it's
keep
better.
Roberts, personally.
Joshy?
Yeah. I think if you're still upgrading your team and getting Track in alongside Roberts, I think that's more beneficial than a rookie and Daicos.
Depends who the rookie is.
Mm.
I mean,
if we're getting Cleary
yeah.
or Groves, like
Yeah, no, absolutely. But who's the rookie he's getting off field?
Yeah, true. It just
Like,
yeah,
if
it does
that's
depend.
like a trainer or a Reed this week, I mean, I probably wouldn't want to get him off field. But if we're talking like a Moraes or a Kako, then yeah, context is important around that. DMS 100%. I'm not going to read this out, or I am, but I'm not going to put it on screen because it might actually be true. Campbell wants to know, Joshy, do you have a brother?
Oh no, I do not.
No. Okay. So, well, Campbell, there you go. He does not have a brother.
I saw that before, Scobes. I think you might have had a laugh at it, considering you call me about 35 different people saying I look like them. So, who
Mate, you
knows,
are a
maybe-
dead ringer for Sam Powell Pepper. Shout out to him and his big 100.
I mean, who knows? Campbell probably knows another doppelganger of mine. So,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
no brothers.
No? Okay. Right. Ethan Sachs wants to know, Murphy Reid to Rozee or Roberts to McCluggage? What are your thoughts on McCluggage? He's the real deal, honestly, I reckon. But Murphy
he's
Reid
gonna
to Rozee, I mean, Rozee's not going to be top 8. I'd rather keep Roberts. That's a tough one.
me personally, we're looking at upgrade cadence here. It's a rookie to, if you want to call Rozee a primo, or you're going Roberts, who's potentially a primo, to an uber primo. I like the rookie to, I like Reid to Rozee personally, but look, you're right. I do think McCluggage always, every year, under the radar.
Yep. Joshy, anything to add? Don't you have him in draft?
No, I don't have McCluggage draft. I wish I did, because he would have been a rather late pick, probably around the 80s. And
I would have picked him up, mate. Don't worry about that. You know I love draft.
But yeah, just with McCluggage, like, the more I watch him, the more I go, is this the week he puts in that bad score? But I mean, he started the season with an 80 and he's still averaging 127.9 or wherever it is. Like, he is like going off his head. I can't believe the scoring is churning out at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think we actually answered that. I wouldn't do Roberts to McCluggage because I want to do Roberts to Stu next week, and I think that is the best value in the game. Send your team through. Send your team through to one of us, and we'll communicate it and get back to you.
One thing I will say that is Murphy Reid has a break even of 45 with Melbourne this week, so I might suggest just
easily
holding
attainable.
him.
Yep.
Yeah, especially with that 4 DPP.
100%. 100%. Placey wants to know, would you trade Lindsay or a Kako this week? He's got to move one to afford the Merritt/Daicos trade he mentioned earlier. I'd probably move the Kako on, honestly.
I think this is super hard to choose. I mean, Kako's got the nice fixture. Lindsay, a better roll. Lindsay's 9 rolls out of his break even next week, so he still has it for this round. But then the following round, he'll start making some serious money. I think you move Kako. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Lindsay's fixture is really good as well. Like obviously Freo this week, but then he has that Tigers West Coast run that we said about Truck and Oliver. So I just think like I know he played lockdown against Essendon, but his Tog was really managed coming back from that injury, and we saw his first 2 games, 86 and 78. I think against Richmond and West Coast, we're going to see 2 more spike scores and a reset of his cash gen.
Absolutely. Ethan Sachs says, thoughts on Ned? We've already covered him, mate, but if you want a better rundown, literally just DM me on X, mate, at Scobie__. You know that. Big H in the house, mate. Shout out to you. Kako/Moraes to Petraka. I'd go Moraes, honestly, purely because Kako's got DPP. That's it. Any objection, boys?
No, agreed.
That's my exact same thinking.
Wonderful. Does Jason trade LDU to Daicos or hold him?
I think you hold him.
Yeah, I mean, if anything that we've learnt this season, it's just hold your primos, because any primo that's been traded out is the ones that are the next week scoring big. So hold LDU, I reckon.
And even last year we saw it too. LDU was slow to start, Dawson was slow to start, and people got on them cheap, which sucks. But it's even worse when you get off them cheap and then they explode.
Absolutely. We've talked about Sammy Draper as a solo ruck. Go back and listen. Nettie Long is a tempter. Absolutely, he is. Brody30 says, thoughts on Peatling, Neal, and Davidson to Nick Daicos, Merritt, and Gross. Don't want to get rid of Neal, but is looking at a lot of tags. Could be 10 to 11 games. We just said don't trade your premiums. Sort it out a different way, bros. Surely you can work it out. Is that fair to say we're not trading premiums, or are any of you ditching Neal?
Yeah, not ditching Neal.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I've had Neal all season. He is a frustrating own at the moment, but I'd be holding it. And also with Peatling, I know he's got that 1 week suspension. It's very frustrating, but he's got forward status now, and his last 2 scores of last 3 have been 93, 126, and 85. And as a forward, you absolutely take that. As I said, frustrating 1 week suspension, but you got to hold it.
Yep, 100%, 100%. Fabled, hope you're well, team. With what looks like a lackluster rookie selection next week, is it worth the boost to double downgrade to Cleary and Gross in anticipation for next week's bare bones option? Yeah, yep, I would say so. Fair? Yep. All in unison there. Jeez, we agreed on something, aren't we? Making progress. Jezza Jumper, is Roberts to Daicos via DPP using one trade? Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm going for that.
Look, I'm not.
Trying to do it another way. Yeah.
I would prefer.
Listen to me, mate.
Yeah, I would prefer if you did a double downgrade and an upgrade to get Daicos rather than just a straight sideways to a degree.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. But then, would you rather Sunday Arvo at 3:20 be want to watch Matt Roberts against Port, or do you want to have an absolute blinder Thursday night watching Nicky D put on a clinic? It's up to you. Make the decision. Jezza also says one more. Is it okay to double downgrade this week without upgrading, or too risky to fall behind the pack? Just don't want to use 4th boost. Just double downgrade and don't boost.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. We're in round 5. This is such a long season. And I think that these downgrade options are going to get scarce and scarce and scarce as the season goes on. So while we've got 2 good ones, if you're not using a boost, just go for it.
Yeah, and if you've burnt already 3 boosts, there's no way you'd be using a 4th right now to force an upgrade or something.
I agree.
Yep, understood. Michael Higginson says he went Sin and Henderson out for Cleary and Gross, then boosted by adding Roberts to Daicos as I didn't want to lose any cash. I want to double upgrade Humpty and Davidson next week with 344k in the bank. Jesus. It's almost as big as St Kilda's war chest. Any objections to that, boys? Excuse me.
That seems good to me.
Again, another Roberts to Daicos, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, 344k in the bank. If you can rework it to get Davidson up to Daicos instead, and then go Humpty to Petrarca next week, like I am, I'd still do that and hold Roberts, and then go to a Stewart.
Yep. Understood.
Yeah, I miss the Daicos. I agree. Don't do that.
Yep. Wonderful. Wonderful. Is it worth using a boost for Cleary or Gross?
I think both of them you could justify a boost for them, but it depends how much you've used.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's your fourth boost, it's probably a no. Is that the consensus?
I guess the question is what you're doing, because if there are obviously two trades. What's your third trade? Because I would honestly identify them as the two must-have trades that you must do, and then whatever the third trade you're doing is in reality probably your boost. So if that's an upgrade or something like that, then yes, I think using a boost for an upgrade is perfectly reasonable.
Yep, perfect. Really like that. Taken also says Gorn in for TDK early, knowing Gorn will go up heaps. I don't think you can trade Tom de Koning until you physically and visibly see Mark Pitnet impact him and his scoring. I don't think you can. I don't think you can go early on that. Is there any objections to that?
No.
Well, just while we're on the cheeky Gorn subject, I know me and Joshy both started him. Did you start him as well, Scobes?
Yes, I did.
Oh, we're all on the Gorn bandwagon. Feels good to get one up over Cherry, honestly.
How grim was it looking when he went only 129 against Lachlan Keefe and then went 60 the next week? I was like, what the hell have I done? Cherry's going to put about 200 points on him in 10 weeks, but he's now averaging more than Cherry. This is absolutely scenes.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hold your primo.
Max Millman says, mouthwatering trade here, lads. Kako, Stone, Davidson for Daicos, Gross, Click. Yeah, lock it in. I'm all for that. Yep.
Yeah.
Again, I think we've covered something like this. Matty Bakari, I've probably butchered that. I'm sorry. He scored a 2-3-70 this week. I mean, props to you.
Huge.
Thinking Roberts, Henderson, and Davidson out for Cleary, Gross, and Daicos. I'd probably do it, honestly.
Roberts for Daicos again. I reckon you just hold your boost and you just go the other two trades, get Cleary and Gross, and worry about it. Upgrade next week then.
Yeah, that's understandable as well. Ethan Sachs says, what do you think Stewart will average top six? Stewart has all the capabilities to average top six, 100%. It's not going to show up on his average because clearly there's a single-digit score in there. But it only matters what they average when they're in your team. And I think from this point on, he's got all the capabilities to be top six, especially at 450k. You'd be crazy to pass that up. I reckon that's the best value in the game. That's better than Chera was at the start of the season, or George Hewitt. Is there any objection to that?
No, not at all.
I will object that he's top six. I don't object that he's going to be at a price that you pretty much have to bring him in. But, I mean, I'll rattle them off again. We did last week, but Sinclair, Whitfield, Zorko, Thiesel, Wanganeen-Milera, Houston, Clark, Holmes. Like, there's so many players in this mix that can be top six. So, not going to say top six.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep. Good to have some discrepancy. Fabled wants to know, what do we think about Kieran Briggs?
Not for me.
No, I genuinely don't understand it. I haven't looked into him once. I have no idea what the fascination is with it.
I think a lot of people...
Because he had that really low round one score because he got injured straight away. So he's not a nice, cheap price. It's to kind of bang for your buck sort of thing. Sort of like we talked about with Stewart. You get someone in cheap and it doesn't matter if they're not top of their line because you're getting great value on the price. I think that's really the discussion there.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Well, I think a lot of people, like our very, very good friend Supercoach God, who is now in the chat at the moment, and I'm sure we'll get to a few comments later, which you'll like, Scobie boy, but he had Matt Flynn, and there wasn't many options he could go.
Can I just
after Matt
stop? Stop. Hang on. Sorry. I'm going to rudely cut you off.
Flynn. Yeah.
At R2, why?
Well, you
No,
can
it
ask
just.
him. He's in the chat.
Oh.
But yeah, he had Matt Flynn, and a lot of people did have Matt Flynn at R2, and I don't think many people could have got up to your Gorns, your Sherrys, even your TDKs. So I can understand why people brought in Briggs at that 473k last week, coming off a 99 and 107, but it's not for me. Only 84 on the weekend, and that was with a 55 at like 3/4 time. So he was pretty lucky to even get to 84. So not for me.
So you're telling me the intrigue to Kieran Briggs was at 473k for a bloke who's averaged, what, 80, what's that, 95? Or just over 100? I don't get that. Verns is gone. I'm fairly sure he's fine. Oh, is he back? He's back. I just don't get the Briggs love. I genuinely don't. I don't really like Cheese. See that he was very late to this one. Glad to hear at least JG's on the track train. Good luck this week, boys. And it is so good to see you on X. I don't really like Cheese. Lovely to see you here. Verns, your good friend, Embit of Joel, he wants to tell you that you look fine tonight.
I appreciate it, friend.
Embit of Joel also says Rozee going to be top 6 defender at this rate. I don't think so. No. A little bit of context regarding what Rookie said before. If he grabs track, it means Reed, Bison, Trainer, Flex will be on field. No rookies in the forward line. So Cleary on bench, could bench Trainer and put Cleary in Flex also. With that context, I'd also probably skip on grabbing Daicos and grab that and do that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Jason K, this man, he says it's 5:25 Monday here in Orange County, California. I've loved listening as I get ready for work. LDU to Daicos. I don't think you can do that. It's too sideways. And he wants to know, is Harry Himmelberg a keeper?
I'm going to say no to both.
Yeah, I'll go no to both as well.
Yeah, I think so. Basketball Edits wants to know which one goes, Sanders, Callahan, or Roberts? Probably Callahan.
Yeah, I think Callahan. I think Sanders has actually been not that bad the last couple of weeks. Off the eye test, I haven't actually looked at his scores.
Yeah, I agree. Callahan, if you got to pick one.
Yeah. Marky Boy says that he's got McCluggage in his draft. If you want to talk about anything to do regarding draft, just hit Joshy up. He plays that format. I'm lucky to spell draft. I wouldn't know anything that goes on in there. That's not my forte. Foreign language, foreign land, don't really enjoy it. Jezza Jumper says, at James Lewis, he's wearing his Swordplay Good Friday beanie as we speak. Absolutely. Check out the Swordplay Boys website as well. Like, it is fantastic. It's just do a mountain of work. It's great. It's good to see God in here. You know exactly who I want to talk about, Scobesy boy. I can't actually put the next comment up, but it's Ned Long. And Jesus, if I keep seeing people talk about Ned Long, I may, in fact, just bring him in regardless of team sheets. That is fantastic.
Do it.
We love you, God. Even if you do make silly mistakes like starting Flynn at R2, that's on you, mate. But we move forward. Charlie Schneider says, Henderson or Davidson, who's more urgent to go, or do both need to go this week? I mean, if Davidson's not named, just keep.
Yeah, I think Davidson's easy to hold.
Sorry,
got Saints this week. Yeah. I think Davidson's a good hold. As Joshy said, into Saints could have a good score. No harm.
Anything else to add, Joshy?
I completely agree. Saints are top 3 matchup for wingers, and clearly if Charlie's asking this question, then he can afford to keep a Davidson. So if you can afford to keep him, then go for it.
Yeah, wonderful. And shout out to you, Charlie. Also, that Travis Head picture in the Strikers get up is amazing. But, mate, you need Matt Short. Simple as that. Absolute weapon. Best in the Southern Hemisphere. And we move on to Stacey Richardson. Save me, boys. SDK and Davidson to Daicos and Cleary. but only 12K in the bank? Or should I use third boost to get rid of Tom Lynch and bring in Gross to give me a little extra cash?
No, SDK and Davidson to Daicos and Cleary is
Yep.
perfect in my opinion.
And
Yep, sounds good.
I think Lynch could be used for a loop this week because I don't think he's going to play, is he? Didn't he get injured?
I think so. I think he got subbed off or something happened. I tuned out of that
Yeah, he
game.
got subbed.
Yeah. I tuned out of that game because
they're Saturday night, so surely he gets some kind of loop going on. Yeah. Get Daicos in. First option looks fantastic. Ethan says, spewing with my recent trades last week, brought in Whitfield and Saligo and traded out Gorn. Week before, traded out Jason Horn-Francis. Yes, same. I should take your advice and hold my primos. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to try and just get through all of them because there's so many awesome comments in here and so many good questions, and we love reading them out. Since the defenders are scoring well so consistently, is it more important to get the mid and forward rookies off field or try bringing the primo defenders first? Try and get the forward rookies off field. That's what I would be going for.
Yeah, agree with that.
Agree.
Yeah, wonderful. Short to Stewart next week. Yes, throw away the key. Yep. Happy to go with that. Yep. This one's directed at you, Joshy. If you need convincing on long, lads, chuck us a ring. Everyone knows where to find out God. Check his YouTube channel out. Does a mountain of work there and really vocal on X. Chuck him a follow. How many boosts do you have left? And be sure to check your DMs post streams. I swear to God, Binger, this better be you bringing in Daicos, mate, or I will not reply. Yeah, I'll leave you on red, and you know I will. I have, I don't know how many I've got left. I've got 3. Joshy, you've got 4, yeah?
4 before this round, yeah.
So you'll have 3?
Yep.
Verns, how many you got left?
Oh.
Sorry, I realized I muted myself. Yeah, sorry. I used my third this week, I think, so I'll be down to 2.
Oh, I got that. Captaincy options. Merit for me. Josh?
Depending on who you have, but I think Sheasel is a very good VC against Carlton. Merritt against West Coast is a great VC as well. If you have Brayshaw against Melbourne, he is perfect. Anderson against Richmond, he's perfect as well. And other than that, just go for whoever you like.
Verns?
Yeah, I like those names. I do think Zorko into us on the Thursday night could be a good VC. I also think Gorn should get some love into Sean Darcy, who played like 60% TOG this week, so doesn't look 100%. If he's not 100%, Gorn's probably going to towel him up.
Agreed. Lachlan Griswold says, thoughts on Roberts to Whitfield and Henderson down to Gross, 150K bank after for potential Daicos trade-in next week. Can you go anyone else to Whitfield? I mean, if you got 150K in the bank, anyone else? Probably wouldn't go Roberts, but Henderson down to Gross, I'd lock in. Boys, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking at Henderson to Gross. And if he doesn't have a Cleary, get him, use that boost, and then you can probably use the cash on top of that 150K in the bank to get Whitfield instead of trading Roberts for him.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I agree with Joshy there. I think that's best.
Wonderful. Ethan Sachs, not sure if I missed it, but did you see my chat about Rowan Marshall? Yes, I did miss that, mate, and I deeply apologise. If I've missed any comments from anyone, I do apologise. Just add us on X and we will get back to you. That is a guarantee. He will be 450K in a couple of weeks. Is that too good of a deal to pass on? Rowan Marshall, mate, I'd want to see the last 2 scores is a 61 and a 52, and I'd want to see a massive improvement on that. Break even, that's got to be a mammoth, right? Yeah, 196. No, mate, I want to see a couple of weeks of consistency. Doesn't matter if he's going to be 450K. Let him get back up to 500K, then jump on. Simple as that. Any discrepancies there, boys?
Pass from me.
I completely agree.
Yep. Pro said, Track and Martin getting slept on this week and don't even tempt me with a solo Draper at the price he is now. Is there, what do we say to Pro?
I think we discussed them all ourselves earlier, so I don't know if they're being slept on because maybe by everyone else, but I mean, we talked about them, so.
Yep. Yeah, happy with that, Joshy? Sorry to cut you off, mate.
Yeah, more than happy.
Perfect. Jesse Jumper wants to know, will the stock market and Sawblade Potty P going ahead this week, lads? I'm fairly certain that stock market will not be going ahead. And currently, I cannot speak for Spillsy, Janath, and Ross. Not 100% too sure what's going on with the main podcast there either. But as soon as something's been decided, I can guarantee you that you will know 100%. But I can confidently say that Team Drop Thursdays will be going ahead at 6:20, and you know that that's a definite. Supercoach God wants to know, do I boost to get Ned Long? Definitely getting in Cleary and Gross. Can't get rookies to upgrade. How many boosts you got left? That's what I want to know.
I'm personally going to say no on the boost.
Yep.
Unless you're really, really hot on Ned Long and you think he's going 450k plus.
Joshy, your thoughts?
I completely agree with Verns. Like that Ned Long trade in, if you're spending a boost on it, and I also saw God's trades, he's straight swap Davidson to Ned Long, so he's not going to make any money on it. So if you're picking him, you're going to really want an 85 to 90 plus average.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Benji DeVille says, which two out of Nevitt, Foss, and Moraes would you trade to Daicos and Gross? Nevitt and Moraes.
Yep, I agree.
Wonderful.
I completely agree.
And I do Stone to Cleary, Benji, not Kako, ditch Stone, and I don't think you boys would have anything against that at all. Pro wants to know Clearly and Gross or Clearly and Sad S rookie. I have no idea.
I think it's Sardis, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, mate, learn to spell. Come on.
No, I think he's saying Sardar Hawley, like Sard Essendon rookie, is better than Sardis. Yeah.
But his name is S-A-A-D, isn't it? Not Sad.
Yeah, I think he's made a slight typo.
I don't know. DM me and I'll give you my opinion because I got no idea what you're saying. Barnaby says he reckons that Rozee hates him. 128, 130, so he brings him in. Then a 64 and a 78, so I trade him out. I also traded out Jason Horn for, oh my God. Barnaby, that is an absolute cracking display picture. I can't. Burner 77 with Track now getting DPP. He's got Rank, Baz, Track, McRae, Daniel, and JHF in forward line. Started Track, so hopefully won't have to touch the forward line for a while. Yeah, perfect. Pro was walking his pet goldfish, but he wants to know Sheasel or Zorko for VC. Nah, mate, get Daicos and slap it on him. Who is he going out of these two? I'd honestly go Sheasel.
I reckon Zorko. I mean, I was kind of looking at Zorko into Sheasel personally.
Yeah, not bad. Yep, understood.
Yeah, I'm pretty big on the Sheasel VC. Carlton are one of the easiest matchups for inside mids at the current moment.
Wonderful. Bear Lee says, hold or get rid of O'Sullivan. I think you have to hold. Do you not? No, he gave me nothing for weeks, so he was ditched. But he's got that DPP now, 221k. He's got a break even in 19. I think it's hold. God says he wants to go. Otherwise, he goes Roberts to Daicos and miss out on Cleary or Gross. So he's going to bring in one of Cleary or Gross, Ned Long, and Daicos.
That I like, but
yep.
If you were to miss one, it'd probably be Gross, I think. I think Cleary is the one that you need.
Yep, agree with that.
Yep. Some love for Verns. Pro says he loves your wild pod picks from past seasons. Absolutely.
Oh, boys, I was looking at Blake Acres last week, right up until
God.
But we're going to talk about that. Don't worry about it.
It must be getting late because that is absolutely wild. Fable says Blake Acres, God Christ. Just hold your primos. Roberts was never a keeper and also a stepping stone like Perriman and Short. He's now made 35K and not sure on his job security. Nah, his job security is fine. With Bice killing it and others coming back. Nah, mate, his job security is fine. Absolutely fine. Thoughts on Roberts, Kako, Stone to Merritt, Cleary and Gross? I don't think I'd do
Look,
that.
I think we know my stance is just hold Roberts. Almost doesn't matter where he's going, just hold him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so with Verns on this.
Bailey Horvath says, don't think I can bring myself to trading Ned Long this week, too risky. Literally, get in Supercoach God's DMs and he will convince you because he's literally convinced me. John O'Chinchotta, apologies, I've butchered that. I've traded Rozee and Horny and now I'm nervous to trade Roberts. Is he different to other two horror trades? Don't trade him yet. Trade him next week to Tommy Stewart for potentially a profit. Simple as that. Simple. Pro says only reason you get rid of Roberts is to Stewart in Fortnite. Yep. I was looking at Jezza Verns, 400K and back-to-back 100s. Oh, my goodness. Get that off my screen. Track or Real? I'm going 100% Real. Boys?
Agreed, Ral.
Yeah, Real.
We're going to finish on our dear friend Supercoach God. Verns. Ned Long, best pod primo of the year. All the stats lead towards him going to 450K. I'm telling
Then
you
lock
what,
him in, baby. Lock him in.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Verns. If Sardis isn't picked this week, I'm getting Ned Long. We are done. We are out of here. We have gone 50 minutes over due to all of the love in the comments. That is horrible, my goodness. But we tried to get through to everyone's comments, questions, observations, and everything. If we missed it, there is still 100 people here. My goodness. Thank you so much. It is literally, I don't know, my time could be wrong. 7 to 11 on Rage Trade Mondays. Thank you so much to everyone that's been there. Verns, shout out your channel and all the wonderful work you do and also the Discord, please, my friend.
Yeah, so come join the Supercoach Hub Discord. We do obviously chat in there all the time, but you can also participate in the cash cow that the boys do on their Tuesday night pods as well. I know we did have a winner this week, so someone did win $100. So congrats to them. So we'll reset the 50, not this coming week, but they will do it next week as they do it every fortnight. So you can come find me on my channel at Verns Supercoach. I just do my team, updates and all there. So feel free to come and watch my weird Blake Acres trades that I back out of at the last second. I did bring in Saligo this week and I was tempted for Miller. So it's always fun what I'm doing. But also, yes, Verns_SC Hub on X.
Perfect. Joshy, where can the listeners find you?
At JJ_SC Hub, and you'll see me with yourself and maybe Verns on Team Drop Thursday, 6:20 this Thursday.
It will not be going ahead if I do not see in Sardis. I'll tell you that for free. You can find me at Scobie__ on X. Shout out to everyone that's still here. There's still 87 of you. Oh my God. Go to sleep, go to bed. It's 5 to 11. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to show it anyway. Yaron Gardner has just donated $14.99. Insane effort. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, mate. And I can confidently and wholeheartedly say that will be going towards a bat for Jack. Now, this is a gun cricketer. DR, this is all DR's idea, so I'm just relaying what I know, and I'm probably going to butcher the explanation, but this is for an absolute superstar kid, needs a new cricket bat, says so much about how good of a bloke DR is. All the donations are going towards him to get a new nice willow, maybe English willow, cashmere, I'm not sure. No idea. But every donation will be going towards him. We are done. Thank you so much to everyone, and thank you especially to Yaron Gardner. Enjoy your evening, and we will be back Thursday nights for Team Drop Thursday. Oh, my God, I'm tired. Have a great night. Enjoy. See you next time.